Hi there, welcome to Bella's Vistas. Come on along today, we're going to make some prints, going to make some frames, going to do some dry mounting and make some mats. It's going to be great fun. Well, here's a couple of aerial photographs running off of the 9880 Epson printer. I love watching big prints rolling off the machine. These are two 16 by 20s on a 36-inch roll of paper. Now I'm going to cut down the backing board. This is Cool Tack dry mounting board. It's the latest way to dry mount. Cut some mats. So I cut the mounting board the same as the finished frame size, and the mat board, the outer mat, is cut the same size as the frame. Same as the glass. Cut through here with an Olfa knife. Takes a little patience. Cut the backing right down to size. I'm double checking that we get the right dimensions. The T-square and tape measure make short work of things. Have to be very careful with the straight edge where your fingers are. Now you can see that I've cut the inner mat or the liner a little bit smaller than the outer mat. I leave a 1/4 inch room around so that I have room to tape things together, and always use your outer edge for your straight edge. First thing we're going to do is cut the black or the outer mat. I'm going to measure the print just to make sure. Sometimes I go to frame something and it's just the wrong size. This is an 8 by 10 print in a 10 by 12 frame. I'm just double checking and everything is right on the money. The first thing I do is mark the outer mat at 2 inches. Mark all the way around, then I make a cut. This is going to give us the outer mat, 2-inch dimension all around. Have to be very careful not to overcut the mats when you're using this mat cutter. Now I'm going to put things back together. I line the outer mat up exactly the way it was, and then I put some double stick tape on the back of it like this. See how this is? Now just watch, I peel this off. Now I take my liner, the inner mat, which is a 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. And look at there, it looks like it was never cut. The thing here is now we can use the edge for marking the mat. And we're using the same edge that we used to cut the outer mat that we're going to cut the inner mat. So everything is going to be perfectly in register. You won't have a problem at all. Going all the way around, cutting the inner mat. There, see how that is? Perfect fit. Put it on the print, and you see that the inner mat, the liner, is exactly the same dimension all the way around because it was taped together in register. Another print here, the same size print, an identical mat. Look at there, just perfect. That's the way I like to do things. Now we're going to move on to a little bit bigger print. We're going to mount 16 by 20 prints on 20 by 24. Exactly the same procedure. My outer mat, the black mat, is cut to the 20 by 24 size. The liner, the sepia, is a little bit smaller, 1/4 inch all the way around. So the first thing we'll do is cut the outer mat. Going to put the print and the backing board out of harm's way. That's the Cool Tack board. It operates at 150 degrees. Here I'm marking the black outer mat at 2 inches all the way around. Now I take the cutter and I cut all the way around the outer mat, put it back together in register. It's a little bit more difficult with the larger size. Put the double stick tape in place. Put the liner on top of it, and then I can make my inner cuts. It's exactly the same procedure as the smaller mats. Pull it out, a little bit sticky that time. There you go, looking good. See how it all lines up. Lines up just perfectly. Identical with the border all the way around. Now I'm heating up my mounting press. I'm drying out my oversheet here. This is a cover sheet that I'm going to use for a big print. This print is 36 by 33. So I clean off the cool tack board, put the print down on it. Now I'm going to put some silicone release paper over the print, and the cover sheet that I previously dried out goes on over top of this. Because you have to have a cover sheet over it when you're working on something like this, because it's oversized. It's going to have an overhang on the mounting press. Now I put it in and I start in the middle on the one side. You don't start on the end, you start right in the middle, and you heat it up for a good 20 seconds here until you got some adhesion. Then we pull over and do the one side, press it, the other side, and press it. Then we pull it out and we see how we're doing. We're looking good. Now I'm double checking the temperature of the press again. You want it at 150, a little bit more than 150. And I start pressing the print again. Here we go. It takes a lot of patience to do a big print like this, but it's well worth it when you see it come out of the press. Now I've trimmed it all the way down around the outside and it's ready to frame. Look at that. I'm really liking this print. Such great fun. Now we'll make some frames. This is a Morso chopper and it cuts 2 perfect 45 degrees every time. Look at there. Just put the molding in. Now we're going to measure the rebate, because when I know how much of a rebate there is, that allows me to set the rulers so that I get the right dimension of frame. Perfect cuts every time with this machine. It's just wonderful. There you can see the guide. We pull right up to that guide and that's where we measure to. I've got the 4 sticks cut for the large frame now, 33 by 36. They're ready to be joined together. Look at that smooth cut. The Morso chopper really does a nice job, and there's no sawdust with it. There's wood chips but no dust. There's the Cassis V-nailer from France. Going to get some of this magic glue here that I get from my framer's supply. Put the glue on. Oh no, time to change my shirt. I don't want to ruin that shirt. Now the shirt's in the wash to get the glue out. I'm making another frame. See how that works? You put the molding in, press it in nice and tight. There's a little clamp that holds it in place, and the V-nails come up from the bottom and give you a perfect joint every time. Look at that. So much easier than using nails or anything. Just make it in really nice and tight. Put it in nice and tight. Make sure it's lined up. Put the clamp in place. Step on the pedal. Move it ahead. Move it ahead. Every time you step on the pedal, it puts a V-nail in and you have stops so you don't go outside the dimension of the frame. Now we're going to make the last corner on this frame and it'll be done. Look at there. When the cutter's nice and sharp and lined up, everything just works so well. And there you have it. Here you can see how the molding goes into the V-nailer a little better. I changed the angle. There's the clamp comes in. Boom, boom, and boom. And you're done. Next corner. You can really move with this machine. It's very fast. A little bit sticky there. There's lots of glue. I've always watched Bob Vila and he always says use lots of glue. So now the time to polish the glass. This is not my favorite thing to do, but it has to be done. You got to get that glass really, really nice and clean, and you don't want any dust. I use a special glass cleaner that has no ammonia in, so the frames are archival. All the material is acid-free and an ammonia-free cleaner, so you have no caustic fumes to destroy your artwork. Polishing the glass a little more. You have to be very careful flipping this over that you don't break it and you don't get cut. Takes quite a bit of elbow grease. Now I set the frame over top of the glass, and look at that, it's a perfect fit. Wow. Look at there. Now we'll turn it over. I've washed it twice on each side. We'll clean it some more now. Dust is your enemy on these things. You really want to keep the dust out. This is a secret weapon on this job. Some acrylic strips that are going to keep the photograph separate from the glass. Maintain an airspace so there's no chance of the photograph drying to the glass. I'm just measuring these by eye and cutting them with a side cutter. It's a peel and stick 3M adhesive that holds them in place. Does a wonderful job. It's the first time I've ever used these. The thing is, we didn't want the frame to get too huge. It's a 33 by 36 print, and I just didn't want it to get like enormous. If you went much bigger than this, you wouldn't use glass, you'd use acrylic. And then there's a whole problem with static electricity and just a whole other thing we just didn't want to use. I wanted to stick with glass. It's a much nicer job with glass. And in goes the print. I'll line it up nice and straight. Then I'll get my Fletcher tool here and put in some, I don't know what you call those, glazier's points. We'll put them in. Look at there. And look at that photograph. Wow. It's really beginning to look a lot like Christmas here. I had such fun photographing these paintings. And now I'm making prints. I'm having fun making the prints. Keep checking for dust. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly. Little final clean here with the ammonia-free cleaner. It's an old Windex bottle, but I put a little $sign on it so I remember that it's not Windex. Here we go with the points. The nice thing about these points is they allow expansion. If you were using brads, the material can't expand and contract. Now I put some double stick tape on the back of the frame. We're going to seal this with paper because spiders like to make nests inside photographs like this. All kinds of problems you could have. So I'm sealing it with brown paper. There you go. Now I'm going to put the D-rings on so that we can hang it with a wire. I put 2 D-rings on the bottom of the frame. So it's going to be supported from the bottom and the sides as well. It's going to distribute the weight. And that'll keep the frame rectilinear. There's a lot more work in something like this than you'd imagine. So now I run the wire around. This is a stainless steel wire. It's very, very strong. It's soft strand too, so it doesn't hurt your fingers when you wind it up on the end. Now, cut it and tie it. And there it is. Look at that. I'm so happy with that. Very proud of this artwork. Wow, it's sure beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Now I've got the 1620s that need to be dry mounted. It's much easier dry mounting these. They fit right in the press. I just put them in between the release paper, put it in. It's a lot faster too when you don't have such a big substrate. There you go, look at that. Mat's just great. Looks good with the glass over top of it. Double check for clean. It's much easier to clean them before you put them in the frame. And there you go. Put in the glazier points. Seal the back. So much easier working on smaller prints. Trim the paper. Now we locate the D-rings, 1/3 from the top. Run the wire. This is the best way I've ever found to run the wire so it fits every time. Wow. There you go. Now an even smaller print. This is a lot easier to work with. Goes so much faster. There you go. There you go. Nice pet photograph. Love it. Thanks for visiting Bella's Vistas. Please like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to be advised of our future videos.